But anyway, in Rome, it was not easy because all of the classes were in Latin. And even though I had had 4 years of Latin, plus high school Latin, I didn't really learn how to speak Latin or to listen and understand it when it was spoken to me. I mean, I could read it and decipher it, but I couldn't really. I had no real facility in using it. I had not a practical use of Latin, and so it took me a good half a year before I was able to really understand what they were telling me, what I was hearing in the courses being given and being part of. So yeah, it took me a while to get to the point where I could really understand, and so I would spend a lot of my time reading the textbook that we had. I would learn the theology from the textbook, but it took me about a year before I could really understand the professors as they lectured in Latin. But once in a while, there was a course here and there that would be in Italian, so that was another problem. I had to learn Italian. That was the language everybody spoke. Unless you were in with a group of Americans and Englishmen, then we would speak English among ourselves. But we were forbidden to speak English if there were any Italians present. We had to speak Italian. Well, that way we were forced to learn Italian. And it took me a while to learn that. In Rome, of course, that was where Kobe learned his theology. He had gone to the Jesuit university and learned and gotten a doctorate in philosophy, and then of course he got a doctorate in theology at the Collegio Seraphico. One of the things that Father Cyril did was he had me write an article on Kobe. At that time, there was only one biography in English on Kobe. That was Maria Vanosca's Our Lady's Fool. And so he gave me that book, and that's where I fell in love with Kobe. And I will say that if I hadn't fallen in love with Kobe, I don't think I would have persevered as a Franciscan. When I was in Rome, I was so happy to be able to go to the room where Kobe basically founded the MI. It was made into a chapel, but very simple. It's much more elaborate now. We would say the Rosary and have prayers to our Blessed Mother. I can remember putting up a bulletin board. I would put whatever dealt with our Blessed Mother. I would put that on the bulletin board. And also, I didn't know it, but at that time, I had a gluten intolerance, and I didn't know that. And I was sick a lot. And they took me to the doctors there, and the doctors there had an idea that all of the diseases and so forth originate in mal di fegato, liver problems. And so I was put on a diet, no tomato sauce. I had the Bianco diet, the white diet, in which I could eat all of the bread I wanted, which was what I shouldn't have eaten, because I didn't know I was allergic or I had this intolerance to gluten. Nobody knew that. They didn't know that. And so that was why I was sick almost constantly in Rome. But somehow I survived. And we would go out for walks every day, passeggio. The courses I managed to get through somehow because My professors would give me easy questions, so that's how I passed my exams in the beginning. And later, of course, as I got more facility in languages, I did better. But I ended up passing my exams and getting a degree, a licentiate, which was like a master's degree in theology. And with a licentiate, if I was assigned to it, I could be assigned to teach theology in the seminary with that kind of a degree. But I didn't really want to do that. I failed my exams in my last year. They sent me up to northern Italy called Rio de Pusteria, which was a town that was both Italian and German. They had a lot of German speaking there, but also Italian speaking. And I spent a couple of summers up there, and it was a beautiful. It was in the Italian Alps. It was really beautiful, and cold. And we would go out on these long hikes. So it was a good experience. But I was also studying after I had failed my final exams, and I spent the summer studying, and then I came back and passed them. And at that time, I didn't want to go on and study for my doctorate because my health was so bad I didn't think I would survive it. So I asked to come home, and provincial allowed me to come back home. So I came home 1960, summer, and was assigned to St. Anthony Parish in Rockford because I could speak Italian. So basically, that's kind of what happened until I came back. And I was in St. Anthony's in Rockford, I think, for something like 7.5 years.